Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today. It's a fascinating journey. We're going to explore some ancient instructions from the book of Leviticus in the Bible, specifically on grain offerings. And then we're going to kind of see how those practices might resonate with our lives today. You ready?
Always. It's amazing how, these ancient texts can offer insights into the human experience, even thousands of years later.
Okay, so Leviticus chapter 2 lays out all these, detailed guidelines. For preparing grain offerings, we're talking fine flour, oil, frankincense, the whole shebang. There are all these specific ways to prepare it. Baking, frying, even cooking on a griddle. It's like an ancient cookbook. It wasn't just about throwing ingredients together. It was really intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. The Israelites saw these offerings as a way to connect with God, show gratitude and devotion, and each element had a symbolic meaning, adding another layer to the ritual.
Tell me more about those symbolic meanings. What was so special about flour and oil?
Well, fine flour represented purity and the very best of what they had to offer. Oil, on the other hand, symbolized richness and abundance, almost like a blessing from God.
Okay,
And frankincense. That was all about elevating the experience, making the offering even more appealing, through beautiful aromas.
I love that. It
But
wasn't just a bland offering. They wanted to make it special. But there's one ingredient that I'm particularly curious about. Salt. Not something you usually think of as a key ingredient in a spiritual offering.
right. But salt was actually super significant. It wasn't just for flavor. It represented this enduring covenant between God and the Israelites, symbolizing this like unbreakable bond.
So it's like saying, hey, this connection's forever. That's deep. It's that deep commitment that really stands out.
Exactly. And you know what's really fascinating? Unlike animal sacrifices, which could be quite costly, grain offerings were something everyone could participate in, rich or poor. Everyone could express their devotion through these simple offerings.
That's such a powerful point. So even in ancient times, they understood that
Right.
connecting with something bigger than yourself didn't have to be about grand gestures or extravagant displays.
Precisely. And that's where I think we can start to see this link
Mm.
between these ancient rituals and our modern lives.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more. How can these ancient grain offerings speak to us today?
I think in our busy modern world, we're often bombarded with these messages that tell us we need to buy more, do more, be more. It's so easy to feel like our worth is tied to external achievements. But the grain offering, it reminds us that true connection and fulfillment come from a different place altogether.
It's like a countercultural message, finding meaning in the simple act of offering what we have, even if it seems small.
Exactly. And that principle of offering what we have can be applied to so many aspects of our modern lives, even if it seems small.
Like what? Give me some examples. How can we take something as ancient as a grain offering and make it relevant to our relationships, our careers?
Okay, well, let's start with gratitude. Remember how fine flour represented the best of what the Israelites had to offer?
Yeah.
We can offer the first fruits of our day to cultivate a spirit of thankfulness. Instead of focusing on what's missing, we can pause and appreciate the good things we already have.
I love that. It's like starting the day by acknowledging those simple joys. A good cup of coffee, a sunny morning, a heartfelt conversation with a loved one. It's a small shift, but it can make a big difference in how we experience the world.
It really can.
Yeah.
And just like the oil symbolized a blessing and abundance, we can look for ways to offer our skills and talents to make a positive impact on others.
So instead of hoarding our talents or letting them go to waste, we can share them with the world.
Exactly. Think about it. Volunteering your time at a local charity, mentoring a colleague at work, even just offering a helping hand to a neighbor who's struggling. All of these are modern day equivalents of the green offering. We're taking our unique skills and using them to contribute to something larger than ourselves.
And that ties in beautifully with the symbolism of salt, right? That steadfastness,
Yeah.
that unwavering commitment to showing up and doing what we can, even when it's hard
Yeah.
or inconvenient.
Absolutely. In a world where things change so rapidly that commitment to integrity and consistency is more important than ever, how do we build trust in our relationships? How do we create a sense of stability in our lives? It all comes down to keeping our word, being reliable, and following through on our promises.
It's like those small, everyday acts of commitment. Showing up for a friend who's going through a tough time, sticking to a project even when we face setbacks, being honest in our dealings with others. These are all ways we embody that quality of salt. And like the grain offering itself, These acts of commitment don't have to be grand or flashy to be meaningful.
Precisely. And that brings us back to one of the most powerful aspects of the grain offering, its accessibility. It wasn't just for the elite or the religiously devout, it was something everyone could participate in, regardless of their circumstances.
So we all have something to offer. We can all make a difference, no matter how small our contributions may seem.
Exactly. And in a world that often feels divided and disconnected, that message of inclusivity and shared responsibility is more relevant than ever.
It's like we're all invited to this big, act of offering, each in our own way.
Yeah, and to find that meaning
Yeah.
and purpose in those everyday acts of generosity and gratitude and commitment.
It's really amazing to think that an ancient ritual, like the grain offering,
Hmm.
could hold such profound lessons for us today.
It's fascinating how it challenges us to rethink our definition of offering, what it means to offer something meaningful. It's not about the size of the gesture, but the intention behind it.
You know, when I first started reading about grain offerings, I was a bit skeptical. Like, what could this possibly have to do with my life? But now, seeing how these principles can be woven into our relationships, our work, even our personal growth,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Yeah. It highlights the enduring power of these fundamental human values, doesn't it? Gratitude, generosity, commitment, these aren't just ancient concepts. They're timeless principles that can guide us toward a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up, what's one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to ponder?
I'd say even in the midst of our busy modern lives, we can find ways to connect with those deeper values, recognizing that we all have something to offer, and that even the smallest acts of kindness and gratitude and dedication can have a ripple effect, creating positive change beyond ourselves.
So it's not just about the big life-altering decisions,
Yeah.
but those small everyday choices that we make, those little offerings that we bring to the world.
Exactly. And those small offerings, when made consistently and with intention, can transform not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us.
It's like planting seeds of kindness, gratitude, and commitment that can blossom into something beautiful. So as you go about your day-to-day, ask yourself, what small offering can I bring to this moment? How can I express gratitude, show kindness, or make a positive impact, even in a small way?
Because ultimately, it's those everyday offerings, those seemingly insignificant acts of love and service, that have the power to weave a more compassionate and connected world.
What a beautiful thought to end on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.